Well, welcome everybody. Again, like Carolyn said, my name is Dave Denzel. Um, I am the technical manager at ID Additives, and I've been in the plastics industry well over 35 years. And as a molding manager, general foreman, senior process engineer, but I've been selling purge compounds now for the last 10 years. So I joined ID uh, this last March, just before this pandemic hit us. And so, what I'm going to discuss today is purging compounds. And so, when we talk about purging, we're not talking about purging the body of any way, because I actually had a gentleman that came up to a booth one time, and he was asking me if he could ingest our purge compound so he could uh, you know, uh, clean himself out. And I went, oh, no way, come on, guy. But in a way, when you think about it, purging of the molding machine is actually you're introducing it into the feed throat, and you're going to purge it through the whole system in your molding machines. So, so people purging is the main reason that you want to purge is that you're going to purge out the machine for contaminants, colors, and so and also for shutdowns. And so there's a lot of people have used several remedies to try to do their purging. They're going to use their own in-house regrinds. They're going to come up with some creative solutions. Like I've heard and seen people use cleaning detergents, hand soap with water, crushed walnut shells, and even scraps of wood pallets. Now, all of these is time consuming in their own right. I actually seen one, when I joined this one company, they were using wood pallets, breaking them up, and they actually were stuffing them down the feed throat because they were trying to remove some ABS that had actually built up, and it was causing screw slippage. So I asked them why they were doing this because they had to remove the nozzle, and so this is very time consuming, and also wood pallets can be it can be cancer causing if it's treated lumber. So you really don't want to do anything like that, and it really doesn't do anything when it comes to cleaning out the check ring. And so this is why you should really use a commercial purging compound of some type. There's many purge compounds that are out there. There's some mechanical hybrid purge compounds. And the reason you want to do this is to help reduce the scrap. Each scrap is a lost sale. So you want to be able to, uh, you know, when you're changing over, get to that last part to the next first part as quickly as possible. So you need to reduce that scrap. Also, too, why have all of that extra regrind around? You've already wasted a lot of time, uh, making those parts and making those scrap parts. So you also don't want to do that as well. Uh, it also increases machine utilization when you use a good purge compound. This gives you more business opportunities when you're able to get switched over to the next part as quickly as you can. It also reduces the downtime, which increases the efficiency, so your operators aren't just standing around. Most operators are there to do a job. They want to do a good job, and the last thing they want to do is stand around at a molding machine while they're waiting, waiting for the changeover to occur. So what do you need to expect from your um, purge compound manufacturer? You've got to have they need to offer a tested and proven purge compound that is better than resin, regrind, or any of these home remedies. And they also need to be able to provide you the information, purging procedures,
Están buenísimas.
and also the safety data sheets. And probably the most important aspect is training the processor for the proper method needed to ensure that you get the desired results that you're looking for. And most of the time you need to use, no two purge compounds are alike. So you should look at the manufacturing directions and try to follow those the best that you can. Naturally, you're going to have to modify depending on the material and the machines that you're running, but the processor should at least notify management if this is an okay process whenever you try different things. So now, ID Additives, I'm going to speak on our purge compounds. We offer a wide variety of different purge compounds, and we first start out with our super concentrate. That's called our SP. This can be blended with your own material, anywhere from 5% to 20%, depending on the material that you're running. We do make ready-to-use purge compounds using the SP, and this is our SPPP or SPPE. And then we also make what we call we also have our mechanical purges that we can also make in each one of these. And then we also have acrylic blends as well, and acrylic purge compounds. We also offer liquid purge, so this is actually a super concentrate as well, and that you can also blend with your material. And this is typically 4 ounces per 12 pounds. And we can offer this up into a bottle. This is usually very good for people that have very small presses where they just want to meter it in at the feed throat and purge with their own material as they're going along. And it's also good if you're not able to get to the feed throat easily, and you need to try to introduce it into the machine, so you can mix it with your own material, make up a 5-gallon bucket of material with it, and then you can introduce it into the hopper as well. You can also do this with the super concentrate, the SP, which is actually a pellet form of the concentrate. We also make these quick shots, what we call our quick shots, probably one of our most popular things. These are a single dose purge compound designed to simplify the purge process while we're reducing the overall costs. It works with any resin for any injection, blow molding, extrusion, and they can also be used through the hot runner and manifold systems as well. So it's a very popular thing. We make them up in 1 ounce and 3 ounce packets that I'm showing right here. So we got the regular liquid type quick shots, and what you would do with these is that you would actually fold them up. I'm going to use this cup as a feed throat. You would put it in the feed throat system, and then you would pour some material around it, and then you can just feed it right down through the whole system. And very easy to use, very economical. I think anybody who has to do any purging needs to have a box of these quick shots around whenever you're purging. We also offer it up in our SP, where we just have our super concentrate made up into, we make that up into 1 ounce and also 3 ounce sizes as well. These are for the people who might not necessarily like the idea of liquid. And then we also make up what we call our HD blend. And this actually uses small mechanical glass prills in it. And I'm just going to come up here and show you what that looks like at the bottom, if everybody can see that. It looks like I got a little bit of a glare, but there's actually little glass beads that are down at the bottom, and this can put in there too. So that's for your heavy colors or your heavy materials that you might be running, and you just want to run something quick down through there to go along with it. So this is very good when you're if you have a good purge program where you can maybe use one of our ready blend materials, and then you can come right in with quick shots as you're doing intermittent runs as well too, or if you just got a quick color change and you just want to be able to use a quick shots just to keep moving along. So also in the liquid, I forgot to bring that up, that anybody who's using liquid color, you already have a pump system that you're typically going into your system, and all you got to do is change out the tubes, and you can put in a brand new clean tube for the Purge compound. You can put it into a 5-gallon bucket that we offer, and then you can use your own pump system to actually use as a purge system too as well. So a lot of people like to meter in their material. So if you got some type of if you got some type of device that you can meter it in, you can change the percentage on your at your hopper and such. You can also set that up too, so you can put that in at a certain percentage that will work great for your material in your machine. A lot of people in extrusion and film will use that type of system, and works very well that way. So most people do not have a very good purge program, and it's very important that you actually have a great purge program set up, so you're not wasting too much time where you're doing long runs. Just, purging with a purge compound isn't just about color changes. You're also trying to remove the previous material. And so one of the biggest things and one of the worst things that processors do is that they're going to change their mold. For instance, they're going to go up to their press, they're going to change their program to do the mold change. And then when they change that program, you might be going from a nylon ABS to a polypro, and it automatically drops that temperature down. Well, you need to purge out the material first from the nylon or the ABS at the temperature settings that they're at before you lower the temperatures on your polypro. And otherwise, you're just going to leave that material in there. It's going to build up. You're going to see scrap on your next parts that you're running. So it's very important that they purge out the press first before they do that. So typically, you like to start out with a good mechanical purge. This will help clean out the check rings, ball checks, your mixing nozzles quickly. And then for intermittent purging, you might move in. Some people will keep the mechanical purge, but some people would like to go to the SPPP, which is our polypro blend. And then we also have an SPPE, which is our polyethylene blend. Our polypro that we use is a 5 to 6 melt. It's a very good all-around purge compound for everything that runs. Our SPPE uses a fractional melt polyethylene, and that can actually take some of the higher heats that you might have, and so that's a good purge compound in those manners. And then you can also use these quick shots when you're doing your intermittent runs as well. So if you're keeping the same material in there, you can just throw in a quick shots to go to your next color change. That also means that most of the time you're only going to use a purge compound on a color change, maybe 25% of the time. I recommend that you use it more often for any color that you might have on there, even if you're going from a light color to a dark color. I think many of you have probably seen where you've changed over to a black, and for some reason you keep getting these white streaks. And that's because you also need to clean out that check ring. You might have a mixing nozzle, which Typhoon is a very popular mixing nozzle that's out there. And or you might have a barrier or semi-barrier screws, and you need to be able to get remove that material out from them from those flights. And so it's a very good idea to maybe you know, if you're only using our Ready Blend Purge, you can go ahead and use that. But if you have a quick shot and you want to change over from those colors as well, just throw one of those in. You can run it through your whole system. You can run. It's very safe to run through the hot runner and manifold systems, and you can just move on to your next part. Our Purge compounds are very good for shutdown and startups. You know, it's recommended that we can either, you know, you can either seal. A lot of people like to seal, and that just means you're just purging through. You're going to do your normal purge process, and then you're going to leave the purge compound in there with a full barrel. A lot of people don't want to do that. I myself like to just use the residual as much as I can, because I've seen where people have, when they go to start up, did not let their do a proper soak time, and they've actually broken screw tips off. Not during a purge compound process, but it, you know, back in the day when I was a process engineer and such, I've seen people where they went to start up and they've broken those tips off, and that. So either way, people will do it both ways, and so whatever you feel comfortable doing is fine. And then also too that. You know, going through the hot runner system and the manifold system, it's very, like I said, it's very safe to use. What I normally would do is raise the temperature on the hot runner systems, and that way it might help soften up the material that might be built up around your pins, especially in valve gates. And then purging through with the material should help remove that a lot easier. So if it's a low temperature like polypro, I might recommend 25 to 50 degrees. But what you should never do is raise it too high that you will go above the manufacturing or the hot runner manufacturer's recommendations for that hot runner system. Because some of those heaters are only made for certain materials, and if you go too high on those, you could actually blow your heaters out. So you don't want to go above the maximum recommended heat for those hot runner systems. So what I'd like to talk about is maybe to go through you know, a procedure that I might use when it comes to injection molding. I'm a big injection molding person. That's what I basically grew up on. But through the Purge compound business, I have learned a lot more about extrusion and also blow molding. But one of the biggest things that a processor should do before they even get started is to clean out the system. Right from the beginning, right, you know, from your dryer that might be at the press, through your colorant blender that might be at the press. Now, some colorant blenders are put right on top of the hopper. And so you need to make sure that whole system is cleaned out. Clean out your magnet very well if you got a magnet window that's in your hopper. And then once you complete all of those, you know, you're going to shut off the material flow, you're going to shut off the colorant flow, and you're going to purge the barrel out clean. And so this is after you back it off from the, you know, off from the tool naturally. And so then you're going to purge out that, so you're going to purge out your barrel, and then you're going to introduce the purge compound. and whatever one that you want to use. That's typically if you're going to use, for instance, a 400-ounce barrel, you're probably going to use anywhere, that's 25 pounds. So you're going to use anywhere from 25 pounds and if you're going to use double that, for the really bad color changes, black, or if you're really, or if your material is really, a really sticky material, then you might use double that barrel capacity. So you might use up to 50 pounds on that type of changeover. Or you can use also a quick shot and use that with your material. Quick shots are typically you use 1 ounce per 1 inch of screw diameter. And so being that we make it into the 1 ounce and also the 3 ounce, if you got a screw diameter that's 3 inches or above, you might use 1 or 2 of the quick shots. What a lot of people like to do is that they'll introduce 1 in, maybe 2 right at the beginning, and then they're going to let the material run down a little bit, and then they're going to introduce another one later on, and then come in with their rinse material in behind it, or even their material that they might turn on the colorant to and then come in with that, because colorant in itself, the pigments in the colorant can also help clean out that barrel system a lot quicker too as well. So I recommend using your next material even with the colorant on, so you can try to get that cleaned out a lot quicker. So after you introduce the purge compound, in some cases I'm going to have you might raise the nozzle up, because if you got a mixing nozzle or if you got a ball check, raising the nozzle up anywhere from 25 to 50 degrees will help loosen that material up in those areas, because the Typhoon mixing nozzle actually has dead spots in it where they actually interlock together, and those dead spots, you want to get rid of that material. So then you're gonna so that way that'll help purge that out. And like I said, if you're going to run it through the the hot runner system, you're also going to raise those up too. And that will help remove that material as well. So what you're going to do is first you're just going to clean the barrel and screw out, and then until the material looks clean. And then you're going to run, make sure that you clean the nozzle off really well. And then you're going to run that into your tool. And then you could introduce some more purge compound, so you can run it through, if you got to run it through a hot runner system or your valve gates. Make sure your valve gates are full open. This helps out. So the purge compound is getting through all the gates. And then as you're running, if you recognize that there's some gates that aren't getting cleaned out as well as the other ones, or the flow, the other ones look pretty clean, then you can shut off your the valve gates to the ones that look pretty clean, and then just try to clean out those other valve gates. And then after that, you come in with your next rinse, your next material, and flush out the whole system and start back up. I like to do a changeover. I like to have from last piece to first piece. If it's on a smaller machine, I like to do that within 10 to 15 minutes. On a larger machine, it might take up to maybe a half hour to get that changed over. I've done them as fast as 13 minutes, depending on the material that you're running and the colorant that they're actually going through. So it can be done, but everything has to be in line. You got to have the people there ready to go. And so when they shut down, you're immediately going right into the changeover, and especially when it comes to color changeover. So material changeovers, I call those maintenance purges. Sometimes they, you can usually do those within usually the same time frame as well. And but it's very important, I can't emphasize enough to make sure that you purge out at the temperature of that material that you're cleaning out before you change the temperature settings. And sometimes people like to raise the back pressure when they go to purge. The only time that I really see that might be necessary, and where I've seen that it was a benefit, is when it was on a semi-barrier screw, and that otherwise the purge compound isn't in there long enough. I'm a big believer in making sure that the check ring moves often. So if you got it, most people are already running about 25% of their barrel capacity with their shot size. So they're running anywhere from 4 to 5 shots per barrel. And if you're doing that, you're already set up to do that. But I recommend, if you're not, that you set it up to about 25% and make sure that check ring is moving often. If you don't want to change that setting, then just go back a couple inches at a time and then purge through to make sure that check ring is moving. And so when it comes to blow molding or extrusion, I'm going to start with extrusion first. Again, you got to make sure that you're cleaning very well. At upstream, your blender, your dryers, your hoppers, and then when it comes to extrusion, you're going to want to vary the screw speed to make sure that the activation is taking place, because they don't usually have a compression zone when it comes to extrusion. And also too, I recommend that you remove the screen peg, because once you start breaking up some of the material, contaminants that are in the barrel and screw, that will tend to block those screen packs. So most people have a quick change for their screen packs anyhow. So I recommend that you can remove that out. And then you raise the temperatures at your transitions or even on your melt pumps. And that also helps out as well. If you're running sheet, I recommend also too that you raise the temperatures on the outside of those sheets. If it's a couple 3 zones on the very outsides, because typically that's the last thing that actually gets cleaned out on the sheets. But I do know that you also cut off a certain amount. But if you want to get it cleaned out quicker, you can just raise those temperatures up on the outside. Maybe also too, if I know nobody likes to change, open up the die gap or anything like that too often, because it's hard to get it to the proper setting. But if you're able to do that on those outsides to help clean that out quicker, I do that as well. So when it comes to a blow molding machine with an accumulator head, I recommend that you raise the temperature somewhere around 50 degrees. You make sure that you open up that die gap about 25%. And one of the biggest things that processors forget to do is that they need to clean around that die gap as well. So take your brass putty knife, make sure that you clean all of that around there, so that way you're not dragging all of that old material that's on there. So very important that that they clean that portion of the machine, because when it comes to blow molding, the longest process of a changeover is probably cleaning all of that upstream system, because purging out the blow molder really doesn't take that long. When it comes to the blow molding machine, though, what I like to start out is that you're going to fill your blow molder up all the way 100% with the purge compound, and then you're going to start purging, and you're going to purge out about 25% of that out. Go to your next, fill it back up, then purge 50% out, fill it back up, 25% fill it back up. You're also going to do the same process when you go to rinse out the purge compound as well. And I have found that this is the quickest way to clean out a blow molding machine with an accumulator head, because nobody wants to. I had one company, it was taking a day and a half for them just to change over colors. And I'm sure that you all probably in the blow molding business have probably had experiences where it's just taken way too long just to get changed over. So we're finding that a lot of people like to use our MP that uses a mechanical pearl. That's a glass bead that's actually in there when it comes to cleaning out those blow molders and the accumulator heads, and then they usually stick to that. They like it so well that they're gonna keep using that material. You can go to your SPPP or your SPPE if you'd like, but we're finding that the MP works very well even through the blow molders, as long as the die gap is large enough of that. So, you know, speaking on these mechanical glass prills, is that they bust up. You know, I have a sample, got a small sample of it right here, and I don't know what the best way to show this, but they're just small beads, and then under pressure and heat, they actually break up, and they mix in with the material, and that just helps clean out the system where you have some heavy buildup and such. So, and what's used in the quick shots is a lot smaller bead, but that also works very well when it comes to especially nylons, ABSs, and such, and your higher temperatures too as well. So this chip, this was actually green going to a natural, and this was actually used by the quick shots. So I do know that a lot of those colorants that you might have is fallow colors. Those are very hard to clean out. So I would recommend, recommend any of our purge compounds to help clean that out, because you want to get good parts within, to me, 5 to 10 parts. I've done it as quickly as 2 parts going on to your next one. So using a good commercial purge compound is vital, and then having a good purge program to go along with it is vital to have success. So basically that's that's basically my presentation that I have when it comes to this. So if there's any questions or anything that people want to ask, I guess we can open it up and discuss what you would like to see from us.
Questions. Brian is just getting his audio hooked up, and he's going to read those.
Okay.
Please send more questions through the chat, everyone, and we will get those answers for you.
Can you hear me okay, Dave?
Yes, I can hear you.
Perfect. So one of the first questions that came in are the quick shots safe for all materials?
Yes, the quick shots are safe for all materials. They can even be used as even on your high temperatures such as peak and such. But I have not heard of a material that they could not be used on. So yes, okay. They are safe.
How about the temperatures that you can use the quick shots for? How high can you go?
Oh, you can go anywhere from shoot. I know you can go as high as 700 degrees when it comes to the quick shots, and that's with any of our purge materials that we have. And so 700, so that's pretty high. And so in some of those cases, that when you're purging through there, that your material might come out, it's going to be pretty fluid. But what you need to do is make sure that at those higher temperatures that you purge very quickly when you So purge out the material that's at that higher temperature, and if you're going in possibly to a lower temperature material, that you're ready to start dropping that temperature right away. So it becomes a very quick changeover, and but you got to be ready for those other materials. And typically you can you can start dropping your temperatures down. I think most machines right around 20, 25 degrees at a time. You usually have to do it in stages as you're dropping it. But as you're dropping those temperatures, you're also purging through with those next materials pretty quickly.
Good deal. Can you make parts with any purge?
Yes, yes. With any of these, with any of our purge compounds, you can actually make parts. I think one, if you're gonna use a ready blend and you're going to use our SPPE because it uses a fractional melt, you're going to have a short shot. But you can still mold parts with it as well. Now your SPPP, just because it's at a 5 to 6 melt, you might have a little bit bigger part. In those cases, that's going to fill out. But you can also make your adjustments. You can change your transfer on your machine if you want to try to complete that part and make it bigger.
Very well. We have another question that came in. How do I present quick shots and compare it to any current process product?
You know what? One thing we haven't done yet is to show the video. Is that something we could show?
Yeah.
So, you know, if we can pull up that video on there, I think that'd be a good way to show how we can present that.
Carolyn's pulling that up now behind the scenes, and she'll share her screen.
Okay.
But before that, you know, what's some of the follow-up, I believe, if memory serves me correctly, and I apologize because I'm just kind of watching Carolyn scroll through here.
Okay.
You know, what's the cost comparison or the advantage of quick shots to maybe their incumbent purge?
Well, first of all, it's just you know, it's just so easy to use. There's all you do is you know, you just place the entire bag into the feed throat, then follow up with your desired resin, and then you charge the barrel, allow for a few minutes before beginning the purge cycle. And we like to, and you like to do a little bit of a soak time. I always look at it as such as that, you know, especially on your dark colors or your hard materials that are hard to get out, a little bit of soak time does not hurt. It's just like if you're cleaning a dirty pan out in your dishwater, you're going to want to let it soak a little bit and then remove it that way. But since you're only using, you know, like a quick shot and it's only 1 ounce, you know, let's imagine that a quick shot is at a $1.85 for a quick shot. You're only going to use 10 pounds of your polypropylene or your natural material to help rinse out. Your cost to purge is only going to be about, you know, somewhere around $8 to $9 for a cost to purge. Now, if you're using a ready to use purge compound, that might be at $2 a pound, for instance. You might use 10 pounds, and then you might use another 3 pounds of your natural resin, and right away that turns into $22 right off, you know, by using a ready to purge. But a lot of people, that's what they want. That's what they want to be able to use when they go to purge out, because then they don't have to worry about mixing or anything else. But the quick shots are very cool to use when you're when you're doing intermittent runs, or you just want to do a quick color changeover, for instance, and move on to your next material. It's they're just so easy to use. So hopefully that answered that.
Yeah, and I'll even add to that I was speaking with a purchaser yesterday, and it allows to put cost controls in place. So if you know that you're only using, you know, like you said, 2 quick shots with 10 pounds of material off on line 3 or 4, whatever it is, then you're setting cost controls in place versus, you know, a guy lugging over a drum of material and potentially spilling it in this 5-gallon bucket. So I think Carolyn's going to attempt to share the screen and the audio.
Just to show you that the boxes, this is our 1 ounce box. This is how they come in, and then also our 3 ounce boxes. So this is very easy to put in put into somebody's toolbox as they're moving along. So it's very convenient, very easy to store.
Good point. So let's let Carolyn try to share this real. ID Quick Shots are individual, pre-measured packets that contain a super concentrated purging compound. Designed to remove color, resin contamination, and carbon buildup, ID Quick Shots are used in the thermoplastic processes of injection molding, extrusion, and blow molding. Purging with ID Quick Shots has never been easier or more efficient. The typical dosage for ID Quick Shots are 1 ounce for every 1 inch of screw diameter. If the dosage requires multiple quick shots, stage each one evenly, following with resin until the barrel is charged. An example dosage would be 1 ounce ID Quick Shot for every 1 inch or 25 millimeters of screw diameter, or a 3 inch or 76 millimeter screw would require a 3 ounce ID Quick Shot. ID Quick Shots are available in 1 ounce and 3 ounce sizes. Always use the necessary precautions and safety apparel when purging plastic processing equipment. Step 1. Begin the purging process by emptying the barrel of any resin. Step 2. Pour a small amount of natural resin in the feed throat, enough to cover the screw. Step 3. Place the quick shot into the feed throat and cover with enough resin to fill the entire barrel. There is no need to cut or open the quick shot bag. Step 4. Begin screw return and charge the barrel. The quick shot will transfer into the barrel with the resin. Step 5. Once the barrel is completely charged, let the quick shot and resin mixture stand in the barrel for a few minutes. This ensures full activation and allows the purging solution to expand into dead zones of the screw and barrel. Step 6. For best results, change the velocity of injection with short bursts until the barrel is empty. Repeat this process for heavy contamination or difficult purge requirements. Step 7. Add your next resin, rinse the barrel, and resume production. Since there are many variables involved in plastics processing, such as screw, barrel size, configuration, shot size, resin grades, color, and carriers, the dynamic of the purge cycle may require adjustment. This may include reducing or increasing barrel temperatures, changing back pressure, and/or modifying the injection speeds. Once the injection portion of the purge cycle is complete and all contamination has been removed, purging of the hot runner systems can be conducted. When purging hot runner systems, closed mold, any parts that are produced can be used in an application where the contamination does not create an aesthetic issue, such as a black utility part. The properties of the resin have not been compromised by the ID Quick Shots purge solution. ID Quick Shots provide an easy, economical, and efficient choice for purging your plastic processing equipment. Learn more about using ID Quick Shots for startup and shutdown, as well as other plastic processes such as blow molding and extrusion at www.idadditives.com. How about the questions, Carolyn? So we went over the cost advantage. Can parts be made? How much time do you need to do a good cleaning?
You know, and that's going to depend on the material and also the machine that you're running. But typically, like I said before, I'd like to do a changeover within 10 minutes to a half hour to do a thorough cleaning. Sometimes there's people out there, you know, you might have ran one type of material for long runs. For instance, I had one gentleman when I went to go in to do a change that he was having troubles that every time he started back up, he kept getting these black speck contaminants that always showed up. Sometimes they were color contaminants. So we purged through the first time, and what it looked like is that the material, because they didn't have a good purge program, is that they would just, even if it was a lighter color going to a dark color, that that's all they would do. They would just go from one color to the other, and the screw actually layered up. So we did one change. About an hour later, the contaminant started coming back. I said, well, do you know what? Let's go ahead and purge again. Well, when we purged, it was a different color than what the previous color was. So we did this, and we ended up going down. We ended up having 4 different colors, and the last color was a red color. And they said, "Oh my God, we hadn't run that in 10 months." So each time that they went to change over to the colors, it actually layered up on them. And I believe this was on a Sanaprene part, and so that showed to them that with a good purge compound and a good maintenance program, that they need to do it after every change, just so they just don't get that layered up effect that occurs on that. So that's one good example. So that took a little bit longer, but once they did it and they introduced their purge program, they said the changeovers was only taking 10 to 15 minutes, and they didn't have any more issues after that. So naturally, they became a customer of mine, just based off from the fact of that. So so that's one example that I like to give. I've probably done, hundreds of changes with people. So it's so you see all types of different scenarios.
Absolutely. The follow-up question, what is the big advantage of ID Additives over maybe some other competitors?
I think just the fact that we offer these quick shots. I really like. I'm really big on these quick shots. I really like that idea that you have something that's very very quick on there, and that you can introduce in with any color change. Also, to the since ID Additives, the biggest part of the business is foaming, is the foaming agents. Well, our purge compound is also, our foaming agents also used in our purge compound. And so if you're actually using our foaming agent along with our purge compound, you can't beat that type of scenario either. So and then I think with introducing our small glass prills, that makes this very easy. That will help clean out your machines. I really like those ideas as well. And then I think from a probably from a technical side, that somebody with we have a great group of technical managers that can help talk you through, help present and make proper procedures for the machines that you're running. So the technical support is I believe above everybody else. So
it's our tagline.
Yeah,
unmatched technical support for innovative products. So I would agree there.
So I think that's you can give us a call anytime. Somebody will always answer. It doesn't matter what time of day it is or what time of night. We do need to sleep occasionally, so
yeah, don't offer that for me. I got a little 1-year-old. I'm trying to sleep between 2 and 5 a.m.
So I live in Michigan, so I work out of my house in Michigan. The company is in Illinois, so they got a different time zone. We have many customers on the West Coast as well. So, we're open to, calls anytime. So we can, any of us can help you out where it's needed.
Very good. A more technical question came in. We have issues with our stack molds buttoning up when we use Purge, the quick shots, I believe. Any advice? Our stack molds are 64 cavities and 128 cavity with an average gate size of 30 thousandths.
30 thousandths. Okay. Now, did they say they were? You're already using the quick shots?
I believe so. They used a different term, and I'm not certain if it's ours or an incumbent competitor. But I would, given the name, I'd be led to believe it's the quick shots.
Okay.
So again, we have issues with our stack molds buttoning up when we use, we'll say, quick shots. The stack mold's 64 and 128 cavity.
So when you're saying buttoning them up, are they locking up then during the purge process? Is what I'm
I'm going to it. Yeah. So they confirm quick shots.
Okay.
And yes, to answer your question.
All right. In this case, if you're using the quick shots, and now with the quick shots, what's easy about it is that you don't have to, you can just put it in with the baggie. It's a low melt baggie. And, but in this case, and that's why we offered the liquid purge also and also our SP is also offered, in a standalone by itself, that it's very possible with the stack molds, if that's happening, that you may be able to cut, what I would do is maybe cut open one of those quick shots and try to meter it in just a little bit at a time. Just put in a little bit of the liquid and let it go down that way, and maybe it won't lock up as quickly. And if that's the case, then we can offer up that same liquid that comes into the bottle, and that might be easier to feed in when it comes to your stack molds that way. But what I would recommend is to try it first, just to see if that works, and maybe that maybe just one quick shot in that case is just a little bit too much for that stack mold. So that might help out in this case. Is that something that they're willing to try out just to see?
Yeah, and we've got their information. We can reach out one-on-one and discuss that in more
absolutely
specificity, if you will.
Yep, absolutely.
Another question is, do you or have you ever thought of presenting a good PM program to customers?
Yes. Yeah, we can do that. We can do that for we can do that with anybody, for anybody. So I believe we have actually offered a good PM program to customers in the past. I think I saw that in some files and such. So to answer your question, absolutely, we can do that. We can help out in any of those aspects that you would like. So.
Yeah, and we have tailored them specifically to customers' needs. It's not like we're just adopting a program that's specific for injection and applying it to blow molding. But typically, what I've personally seen is a PM program is, you come in, you mentioned the MP, and really cleaning everything out, backing it in with an SP grade, and then kind of finishing it off with a quick shot. Would you agree that's a general PM program outline?
Yeah, yep. That is definitely the general guideline. So and then as you go along, some of that might be modified to fit your needs and that, but that's the general idea though on a good PM program.
Very good. Another one is are the quick shots FDA approved?
FDA, the FDA does not approve, nor does it regulate any purge compounds of any type, and that's across the board with anybody. However, all of the ingredients that are used in the ID quick shots or even our other materials are considered grass, generally recognized to say, and by the FDA. And so that means that they're compliant to use in applications that are in direct contact with food. So since a purge compound actually doesn't make, has nothing to do with making the parts and everything like that, it's considered a cleaning agent of some type that that at least the components are FDA, are recognized anyway. So
yeah, we've got those certs too that we can share with anybody that's interested. Another question: do you have individual purge procedures?
Yes, purge procedures. I might have talked about like our maintenance program and that, but we have a purge procedure that are individual. If you just want to clean out the screw and barrel, we have that. If you want to if you need to clean out the hot runner manifold systems, we have that for that as well. We also have the individuals for the blow molding and film, extrusion, sheet. So we have many procedures, individual procedures that are out there that we can also provide. Now, when it comes down to being able to modify them, because these procedures are used as a starting point, and these are typical to the normal process, but I always run across that somebody comes up with a different machine, different material, different process that is, I'm always learning. I've been doing this for 10 years, when it comes to the purge compound, and it seems like I'm learning something new every single day, and somebody comes up with something different.
Yeah.
So, but
I actually have a question for you. I haven't had a chance to talk to you yet today.
Okay.
I was speaking with a gentleman yesterday asking about, this time of year, a lot of facilities are starting to shut down and wind down for the holiday season. So a lot of maintenance going on and whatnot. Somebody was asking about if there are any specific procedures or some of our purging compounds to help assist with shutdowns and startups.
Oh, absolutely. All of them can actually be used for a shutdown and startup. And this is where I talked earlier that the first thing you need to do is, clean out the machine from whatever, from whatever material that you're running in there. And then you can, and like I said before, you can either seal it or you can just leave the residual in there and let it go. Now, when you go to start back up though, and you're raising those temperatures back up on there, what I would recommend is to make sure that once you get to the proper set temperature that you want, or if you want to start up, as long as you introduce our purge compound into your system, you can start rotating that screw, I believe somewhere around 325, 350 degrees, but start out at a very slow rotation though. But most heat soaks that occurred, once you come up to temperature, most heat soaks are anywhere from 20 minutes to 30 minutes once you get to your set temperature. And so I always recommend that you at least do that. But when people are starting up, they're typically coming in. You're turning everything on anyways, and you're going from one machine to the next. And by the time you get back around to that first machine that you turned on, that'll be ready to go. And but always try to start out with a slow screw speed though. Last thing you want to do is do damage to your machine, even though I haven't heard with purge compounds that usually, that occurs, but from previously being a process engineer, I always recommend that you start out slow anyways. You don't want to break those tips.
Absolutely. Yeah. One of the things I was able to mention to him, you mentioned earlier that you can mold parts, specific with the quick shots, and I know some of the other purging compounds, but I did want to make mention. I've got a customer that is an injection molder, and they use the quick shots in the middle of production as a preventative maintenance tool. That way they don't have to pull the screw at the end of if they have long production runs, because they just, obviously they discard those parts, grind them up, and, put it into a non-acidic black part. But I don't know if you can. We've been talking a lot about quick shots and how versatile they are. Is there? I guess is there something?
Sorry about that, people. Somebody must be
you're
at the
fine.
door.
Yeah. Could you speak to that at all, as far as how they might assist in the middle of production runs?
Well, depending on the materials, so you don't have to use the quick shots. You can use any of our purge compounds when it comes to that. When you're using PVC, for instance, you got sometimes when you purge out a PVC, the PVC will come out and it's almost like chunks. So you're going to want to use one of our regular purge compounds. During the run, especially if you're going to a different color or such. And yeah, it's very versatile when it's even with the quick shots. If you want to use one of those just to throw in there, especially if you're going, and like I emphasized before, if you're any color change, I would recommend throwing a quick shot in. So it doesn't matter if it's light to black to white. If you're going to change over, I throw one of those in there as you're going along, and that will make things a lot quicker. And making sure that you're also not going to layer up that screw during that, so if you can do that every day or every 3 days, depending on how you feel about your equipment and such, you're probably going to play around with what method's going to work the best for you. But I would definitely consider using it at all times, just to help maintain the cleanliness of your machine and your screw and barrel.
Maybe like that guy that you mentioned, you were pulling red off of something that had been run 10 months ago. Maybe
it was unbelievable. I think you never know. I might be able to give them a call.
There you go.
And they can actually talk on that. So, but that was pretty cool to see that. So that really taught me something that if you got long run materials, that you're most likely layered up on your screw. And if you want to eliminate from having to pull screws so often, keep maintaining it by using a purge compound often, just to make sure that that screw and barrel stay clean, so you're not going to layer up. Because the last thing you want to do is layer up anyways. That you can usually see the issue where the screw is slipping, because you're all of a sudden your return time is not what it should be. Sometimes it might take a little bit longer. Right then you know that you've got layers of material in there and you need to get that removed. But what you want to do is prevent that from occurring in the first place. So you never want to do it after you've already been having the issues. You want to prevent it from occurring. So
absolutely, PMing is key. Preventative maintenance.
Yep.
I do want to take a quick note. I think Carol, really quickly, but I think she's going to open it up. That way we can see all your beautiful faces on the webcams and unmute the mics. I do want to make note that ID Additives offers what we call a lunch and learn. We recently did one, I believe that was a couple weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken, with a fellow MAP member, where we were able to discuss their specific applications, showcase the products, again, that they were wanting to hear about, but we also catered in lunch. So I know with these Zoom chats, things are kind of presented in a broad format, but it is something that we've been offering. Again, we offer unmatched technical support. So one of the things that we've been doing during these times of limited travel or even completely ceased travel is offering things like this virtual support. So we pride ourselves on it. We're readily available to do all that. Dave mentioned earlier that we can take phone calls at any time, do FaceTimes. It's hard not to be at the press and do all of this stuff, but we're doing everything that we can to virtually be there and assist. So if you are interested, or maybe you know, maybe you've learned a lot today about purging compounds and you're trying to relay it to a fellow coworker, and you're just not getting the point across. Just know that we're happy to present to whomever in your company on whatever product that you guys are interested in. So